Welcome everyone to Kobo's milestone webinar celebrating our 10 years of community-led impact and innovation. Over the last 10 years, you have taken our tools to the field and helped us create something better year over year. Together, we have built an amazing community that spans over 200 countries, and today we celebrate this community and everybody here who's curious about our work. So here's the agenda for today. We'll first start with our 10-year journey. And Patrick will share about this journey. And then we'll have Tino who will tell us about some recent product updates and about the future of the platform. Then we'll jump into talking about our new offerings, where I'll be talking to Eamon and Paula. After that, we have Paula from WHH and Sharon from Save the Children, who will be sharing their experience with the platform. And in the end, we'll have an open round of Q&A where we'll take up some questions from the Q&A box. So let's start where it all began, with Patrick, our co-founder and president. Patrick, could you share a bit about the history of Kobo from its earliest days and the journey on how we got to where we are today?
Sure. First, let me thank you, Dev, and everyone on the team for organizing this event. And thanks to the participants. It's amazing to see so many people coming and joining us in kind of discussing where we were and where we're going. So I really look forward to the discussion today. But as you said, let's maybe look a little bit back before we look forward. And not many people know that Kobo is actually more than 10 years old. It really started as an idea as Fong Pham, who is the other co-founder, but also my wife, and I were in Iraq. And what we were doing was very much going against the victim. We need to do that for victims. And we had a very simple idea. It seems so obvious today, but it wasn't the case at the time. Was, well, let's ask people. And so we started using what would be traditionally epidemiological methods to kind of assess people's opinions, perspective on how to rebuild after violence. But in doing so, we realized that we needed to move much faster in order to be able to drive action. In other words, the time from the moment we collect data to informing policies is very, very short. And so we needed to go faster. And that's how we created Kobo. And so moving forward with, a couple of years, we used literally the money we would normally use for photocopies and data entry to create the first Kobo. And I had a bit of a kick looking back at some of those pictures, because what you see there on the top right is the very first Kobo. It's not Android, it's not iPhone, those things did not exist. It's actually a Mio phone that was running a Windows mobile application. That is the very first version of Kobo. But what we learned from it is that it worked, that it was really possible to collect data in the field in a way that would allow us to move faster. And that experience in Kobo in the field is what gave the name Kobo. Kobo literally means transfer. It was really about transferring knowledge from the experience of people to those who are taking action and building project. And so the next step forward was in the Central African Republic. And again, on the kick, what you see on the right is Hotel Kobo. It's literally a hut in which what you see there were those solar chargers, and how we would in the field without connectivity, without any kind of access to electricity even, and still being able to collect data. And that's where we realized, hey, we're onto something here. This is actually helpful. And we started having people asking us, can we use it? And so that really led us to where Kobo kind of started building. It proved that it works in the worst conditions. So then how do we build from there? And so we deployed in DRC, Uganda, Liberia. And as people started using the tool, we made it publicly available, open source. We wanted just it to be a global good. And then IRC, OCHA approached us in a partnership. How can we make it better? How can we make it more relevant for humanitarian actors and others in the field? facing the same kind of challenge you're facing, and for which this tool could be really useful. And that's where, over the course of 1 year, we worked on basically releasing the first global platform as it looks today, leveraging open standards, XLS forms, with this partnership with OCHA and IRC, making it publicly available worldwide through our public server. And that's very much the starting point of the modern Kobo, if you like. So that's the 10 years we're talking about. And something amazing happened from that point in time, which is that it took about a year to get the first million submission. It took another year to get 5 million submission, another year to get 20 million submission. And now we've reached 1 billion submission. And the point is that we have grown alongside organizations like yours in both understanding how to improve the tools and making it relevant and useful for actors on the ground. So in 2019, what was up until then a project run by Fang and I out of our universities and across time, different places, we actually established a nonprofit, Kobo, which is now hosting KoboToolbox and making sure that this original vision remains intact, a vision around making sure that we provide the best, most accessible, freely usable tool for organizations who need data to drive impact. We're very proud that we've been recognized as a digital public good, even prouder to see the number of people in this webinar, even prouder to see the statistics coming on the usage in the field. And so again, it's been an amazing journey driven by you. I mentioned the 1 billion submission. Dev mentioned the fact that we pretty much operate or have users or have people leveraging Kobo to advance their impact around the world in every country. And as you can see, the statistics are clear. They speak for themselves. Yes, we have some users, very large users, who help us maintain and ensure that we can continue offering the platform for free to the large majority of our users, whether community-based organizations, small local NGOs, organizations who frankly, frankly, KoboToolbox is the best possible solution in order to drive impact again. So it's not just a gimmick to say that you named us. It is truly the community. It is truly the experience, the partners in Uganda that gave us the name. And it is truly through the partnership over the years that we have been shaped into the platform we are today. The functions, the needs, the way to operate Kobo was all driven by users, for users, with users. And you continue to inspire us in that journey. And that remains very much core to what we will discuss next, which is what are some of the priorities, what are some of the directions in which we are going. This is a critical moment because what we know is that those systems, those information landscape on which we rely on are actually disappearing. They are definitely under threat. And at the same time, the reality of the funding landscape and the growing needs and the complexity is that in some ways, data is even more critical than ever. The fewer resources we have, the better we need to be at allocating them. And data has an important role to play in that function. And so we want to be your partner in making sure that we are not building top-down information system, but really leveraging the community and more participatory information system in the humanitarian space. In other words, what we want to make sure is that we are contributing towards this ability to create a change from a community perspective, that you as actors on the ground have the agency and power to create that change. So I hope that you will join us, and there are different ways of doing that. The forum is an important part where you can help first-time users, and we really appreciate all of you who are contributing already to that forum. You can share your lessons learned. It's amazing. We have learned from practice, so we want to learn from you. And so any ideas you have on new features, on improvements, on the way to operate, we're very keen to hear that. Again, we want to hear you. We want to listen to your experience and opinions, and you should feel always free to reach to us with suggestions, improvements, sharing your experience. We're very, very keen to do that. I will repeat it again. For users, with users is to me critical, and by users, because we continue doing research, doing data collection, and partnering with organizations like you in the field. I'm very proud that a few years ago we started rolling out the ambassador program, which is really a way to recognize those contributors on the ground who are already helping each other and kind of empowering those actors in their reach and support to KoboToolbox users. And finally, I need to, of course, note the enterprise partner that can join a community practice that is dedicated to large-scale organizations that have wide deployment of the KoboToolbox platform. They have unique needs, and we want to recognize that and really kind of make sure that we spend the support and engagement from our smallest, very local partners all the way to our largest key users. Again, I want to emphasize that this is critical to the future of Kobo. We have exciting news. We're working on AI. We're working on so many features that Tino and others will outline in the future. But it is with you in mind. It is with your input, with your partnership, and with you driving those efforts through those avenues. And so I hope that you continue being part of our future. Over to you, Dev.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patrick. Thank you for telling our story and providing such a powerful vision for the future that we want to create with our wonderful community. Before we let you go, I had a quick question for you. What is your favorite memory as you have navigated the past 20 years at Kobo?
I was about to go, and I have to apologize. I will jump on a separate kit, but I still be in the Q&A. It's a tough question. There are so many, from really the creation and the rollout of Kobo. But I would say that I'm still very active on the ground, and when I go to small areas in northern Iraq or in Ethiopia, and people don't really know or associated me with Kobo. I've never been promoted in that sense. And so they come to me and say, hey, we're using this great tool. It's called KoboToolbox. You know about it? Well, yeah, actually, I do know about it. And it's an amazing experience to see how wide the reach has been and how helpful the tool has been. Something that, frankly, was created because we needed it, because we wanted to be able to do that kind of engagement. To see that kind of need and service echo with so many people around the world has been amazing. So again, thank you, everyone, for making Kobo the is today.
Thank you, Patrick. So before we continue and go to the next section, we'll run a quick 30-second poll, which should appear on your screen. When was your first time using KoboToolbox? I know for me it was 2017 when somebody from IRC insisted that I check out KoboToolbox's report builder for its interests.
I wish you could see what I see, which is the numbers coming in real time. It's fantastic. Hundreds of responses already.
Oh, wow.
We are over 50%. All right. If you haven't voted yet, please quickly add your vote to the poll.
I realize as a panelist, I cannot vote, but I select before 2014, and I would be curious to know if anyone has done that. That would be amazing, because that would be the very early days of Kobo.
You'll be surprised. Okay, I'm going to end it. Here are the results.
All right. Well, it seems to be 2018, 2019 to be the winner here. No, actually, the year before that, 2021. Great to see a mix of longtime users and newcomers. So yeah, let's move to the next section. All right. I would like to welcome Tino, our Chief Operating and Innovation Officer. Tino has been guiding our product roadmap and the Kobo team for many years now. He will share with us some exciting updates and give us a glimpse into the future of the platform. Over to you, Tino.
Thank you, Dev. Thanks, Patrick. And thanks for everyone for being here today. It's really fantastic to have such a huge group from the Kobo community. You know, the last 10 years of growth and innovation behind Kobo Toolbox have been extremely exciting for all of us. And as you can see, it's not just the organization that's been growing, but of course also our users. We now have more than 250,000 active users, and that's very humbling. You know, we're reaching this pivotal moment, not just because of where we've been growing as an organization, but also because of the features that are still coming up. But first, I wanted to take a moment to discuss some of the new and most recent updates that you can now draw on and that expand the way that you can use Kobo to collect and analyze data. Here you already see one of them, and that's been one of our most anticipated feature updates from the last year, especially for larger organizations. Our Teams feature, in essence, allows teams and of course larger organizations to manage larger groups of people that are part of their team. So you can invite colleagues, manage team members, and centralize data management this way. And of course, if someone leaves a team, you can remove them and thereby remove access. Joining a team works this way. You actually transfer the user's existing projects, which are then owned by the team, and any new projects, any new forms or data collection projects that they create in the future will then be owned by the team itself rather than an individual user. And that's extremely helpful so that if someone leaves the team, the owners and admins of the team will always have full visibility and access and control over the data that was collected on behalf of the organization. For now, the Teams feature is available through our Teams and Enterprise plan, and of course, through our private server offerings. This also means, and that's really useful for many larger teams, that you have a shared amount of submission and storage usage that the entire team can access. So instead of having individual buckets. And I know Eamon will talk about this in a bit later today. Next, we recently rolled out our automatic transcription and translation features to all of our users. What that means is you can now turn your interview audio responses, and of course, audio is extremely useful for collecting open-ended responses from your surveys. You can transcribe them into text in many different languages, and then if needed, you can also translate that transcript into more than 150 languages using machine translation. Obviously, manual transcription and manual translation are always options. And of course, you can use our editor feature to review and edit any of the transcripts or translations as needed. That's extremely important because, of course, AI tools, as any other technology, can make mistakes. So we always encourage you, and as you can see here, we sort of force you to review before saving the transcript. Next, we built a feature to make it possible not just to transcribe the audio, but also to do qualitative analysis. You can go to the next slide. We made it possible to analyze the data that you collect this way much more effectively. So we rolled out the qualitative analysis feature a few months ago. And what you can do with that is actually create additional meta questions about these open-ended interview transcripts. And then you can assign labels, categorize them, summarize them, and whatever you need as summary. That feature in particular makes it much, much easier to conduct truly mixed method surveys. This means you can combine the advantages of fast mobile electronic data collection with the depth and rigor of qualitative data as well. For example, you can easily add one or more audio questions to your existing survey just to be able to record the why to a question, or can you give me an example, or give me an anecdote for that sort of data. So you can combine your closed-ended, fast multiple choice questions with this open-ended data much more easily. It also means you can do this without having to leave Kobo. You don't need expensive and difficult software to do qualitative analysis. And after you've collected and analyzed it this way, what you see in the interface here, it becomes part of the same data table. Your exports, your API, everything already includes these responses. So all you need to do is download and visualize it and analyze it together with the rest of your data set. Next, we also a few months ago added logging and security features, actually quite a few of them. And we're really happy to do that. And we're really proud that we've collaborated with UNHCR on this. What it allows us to do is actually provide you the logs of when someone logged into your account. If that was someone else other than you, maybe you've given access to someone on your team, you can see exactly when they logged in and from where. For project history, you can also see exactly when someone made a change and when data came in, when a modification was made to the data, to the form, to the metadata of the project. All of that is extremely useful, especially if you have a large a distributed team. If you work in a lot of different locations, you want to know who made what edit. And so you can see all that. You can download it. You can export it for lots of compliance and auditing purposes. That is extremely useful. And then finally, we're excited today that Kobo will officially be ISO 27001 certified. That's extremely important for lots of organizations where this is a compliance requirement. And what it means is, for those who haven't heard of the standard, it basically certifies and ensures that Kobo always follows the highest international standards for data security to protect all private data, all data that you collect through your surveys, and of course your own personal data as well. So these are all the features we're most proud of from the past few months, and I think they will make a big difference to our many users and organizations around the world. But I'm even more excited to show you what we're planning for the near future. For starters, the coming months will see us release an AI analysis feature, as you can see here on the screen already. That particular feature will allow you to answer these meta questions we saw earlier about open-ended audio transcripts in a much more efficient and time-saving way. It also means, in our experience, it is more reliable than asking many coders, human coders on your team to do this on your behalf. Our new AI models that we're training for this purpose will automatically analyze the transcript and answer all the relevant questions within seconds. So we're building this integration with the highest ethical standards and in consultation with many of our partners and users. We always, of course, design this feature to make sure that there's a human in the loop. So as you can see, there's a button, for example, to verify the data. And if it's not verified, you know that it came from an AI agent only. That particular feature will really speed up the process. For example, you could now collect hundreds or thousands of audio from open-ended responses and then analyze them in a single day or in a single morning, perhaps, rather than giving this to lots of people to transcribe and analyze over the course of days or more likely weeks. Next, our huge flagship initiative that we're working on designing right now is our AI-powered Formbuilder. This actually will integrate an AI assistant for the first time, and that will help you give feedback, receive feedback to your form. So while you're designing the drafts, you can get immediate feedback. You can also use it to create survey questions based on your prompts. And of course, very importantly, we're adding a way to upload any existing indicators or guidance materials that you might have within your organization or within your sector. So imagine having a survey expert, a methods specialist, always at your fingertips, always at the ready to give you feedback, to tell you what the best way is to ask a particular question, who might tell you to improve perhaps your consent question, and so on. So we're training this AI agent. We're still in the early stages, but we're training that to be very, very careful, not just to be as ethical and reliable as possible, but also to use the right methodological guidance and training available within our sector. And as a result, once this is available, I think it'll make a huge difference to our sectors and to the nonprofit world to build better surveys much faster. And then finally, we're working on incorporating more case management features in Kobo. Our goal is to enable you to track beneficiaries over time and make longitudinal studies much easier to manage. We've listened to many users who told us that it's extremely important to them that Kobo remains easy, intuitive to use. And so we're very careful about adding these quite advanced features to make sure it doesn't clutter up the interface and doesn't make it hard to use in practice. So if you're interested in joining our user research on this feature, we'd love to hear from you. Please let us know. There will be a survey at the very end of the webinar. You can add your details there and check a box. So we'd love to have you and talk to your team about this more. All right, so before I hand it back over to Dev, we have lots planned for today. I have a final appeal. KoboToolbox has always been, as you heard from Patrick, community-led. We really depend on you guys. So if you have any other ideas for new features, big or small, improvements, I see some of them already coming in here today, but really where we want to hear from you is on the community forum. The community forum is built for you to share ideas, to vote on ideas from other users. So please, if you haven't already, do sign up to go to community.kobotoolbox.org, create an account, and share what you have in mind. And of course, interact with others who already have posted ideas. You can vote on them and so on. Of course, the forum is also great, as you heard from Patrick, for helping each other out, learning from each other, and doing that also makes a huge difference to our many thousands of users. So thank you for those who are here today who are already very active, our ambassadors and our community power users. We really love you guys. So thank you for being a part of this Kobo community over the last few years. And yeah, back to you, Dev. Thank you.
Thank you, Tino, and thank you for all the work that has gone into making the platform what it is today. I know a lot of community members will be really happy to hear what they heard today about the upcoming capabilities, and I know that our product team is really excited to work with our community as we build these capabilities out. Before we move on to the next section, I had a question for you, Tino. This comes up often, and I also see a couple of questions in this direction. So thought of asking you while you're here. So as you know, the platform is known for its accessibility, for its simplicity, and for its intuitiveness. As we work on integrating AI, how do you think that will impact how people collect data on the ground?
That's a great question, Dev. Yeah, and quickly, I think one of the most important thing for us and for many people here today is Kobo is a free platform. It's not only open source, but we want to make sure that it is remaining a free platform. As a nonprofit, our mission is to help many of you. So the most important thing is that we focus on our core offering, collecting data in the most widely accessible way possible, within limits, of course. That's something we will never change. All these new AI features, of course, they're extra, additional things that we're experimenting with. And so, yes, they can make the survey creation a bit faster and perhaps better in some cases. They can make the analysis faster. And so they are added services, and we're experimenting even with other ways to help you use AI for conducting questions and so on. But at the end of the day, our roots are very clear, and they show us that nothing will replace a human interviewer who can do face-to-face interviews. What we can do is make a lot of the other processes a little bit easier, a little bit faster, more efficient. And whether that's AI or just other software improvements, we will always see where we can focus our energy.
Thank you, Tino. All right, so before we move to the next section, we'll have another poll. And this is, which feature update you're most excited to hear about. Well, not surprising, AI is getting a lot of traction. For me, it's definitely offline case management. I think our sector deserves a case management capability that is, both easy and intuitive to configure. All right, do we have the results?
And here they are. Thanks everyone for voting.
All right, not surprising, AI-enabled qualitative analysis comes to the top, closely followed by automatic transcriptions. Awesome. Thank you for participating. There'll be one more poll in a bit. Now let's move to the next section. All right. So in this section, we'll be talking to Eamon, who leads our partnership efforts, and Paula, who's a project manager in our partner services team. They'll be talking to us about our latest and greatest offerings. Eamon will talk to us about Teams and Enterprise, and Paula will talk to us about partner services. So you may have noticed in the recent past, there have been quite a few updates to the website. We've been working hard to gather feedback and align our plans and our services to the diverse needs of our community. So all these updates have been a result of all that work. Now I would love to welcome Eamon who will chat with us about the Teams plan. Hey, Eamon.
Hi, Dev.
Eamon, would love to get your thoughts on, how the new Teams plan came about.
Thanks, Dev. As you mentioned, our community and professional plan are primarily for individual users. So with the professional plan providing large data collection efforts, there has been a natural evolution in this community just to work more collaboratively, and we responded to that with the Teams offering because multiple users wanted to benefit from a single subscription plan, which works well for organizations. All the projects and data would be owned at the team level. So basically, if an individual member leaves, their work is still accessible to the team. Of course, it comes with higher submission quota, 600,000 submissions per year, and unlimited storage, which can be shared with the entire team.
Awesome. Eamon, you mentioned higher submission quota. Could you share a little bit what exactly those numbers look like? And after that, I'm very curious to also get your thoughts on, if partners are interested in operating in many teams, how should they be looking at our offerings?
Yeah, we're going to start with the submission quotas. Basically, if you subscribe to a Teams plan on an annual basis, you get 600,000 submissions to be used anytime during the year by all of the plan members. So basically, there is no assigned quota to a single account. It's assigned to the entire team. As for, using across multiple teams, I think the Teams plan subscription comes with one team, and this one team comes with the ability to add additional teams to the original. As you add more teams, you're really moving in the direction of the organizational use of the platform. So at that point, the enterprise offering might just make more sense and become a good fit.
That's a great segue into chatting about our two different enterprise offerings. Eamon, would love for you to compare these two offerings.
Sure. We have basically two enterprise offerings, as you mentioned. The first is the entry-level enterprise offering. It comes with 10 Teams plans, basically built into the offering itself, and there is no limits on submissions or storage for all team members of the organization. And then we have the enterprise private server, which gives our partners their own dedicated KoboToolbox server, and it can be hosted in 25 countries or even in your own local infrastructure.
Gotcha. Even just so I understand this correctly, when you mentioned 25 countries and local infrastructure, let's say a large organization like CRS or IRC or Mercy Corps, want multiple private servers, let's say one in India, one in South Africa. Could we make it happen?
Absolutely, yes. As I said, we are hosting in about 25 countries, and we have some hosting options in our cloud, and we can do it on your own infrastructure. So basically, yeah, we can set organizations up this way.
Awesome, thank you. And then could you also tell us a little bit about all the different types of services that our enterprise partners get?
Yeah, basically the enterprise offerings, they're not just the software to us. Fundamentally, they represent a strategic partnership between us and the enterprise partner. We collaborate closely towards their success. So our enterprise partners have access to a dedicated customer success manager. We provide 30 hours of time set aside for trainings and consultation. They get unlimited access to the KoboToolbox Academy for any needs of onboarding or, getting new work on KoboToolbox. And it also comes with priority support on business day. That's just part of the features. There's more.
Great. Thank you so much, Eamon, for chatting with us, and also thank you and the entire partnerships team, for doing such a great job at taking care of our partners and making sure that our offerings are aligned with the diverse needs of our community. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, I would love to have Paula Orr to chat about our partner services offerings. Hi, Paula.
Hi, Deb. Hi, everyone.
Paula, you have such a rich and fascinating background in monitoring and evaluation across multiple countries. I'm curious, what made you join Kobo's partner services team?
Yes, so I worked with Kobo for years as well, and I saw that many organizations around the world are not using Kobo as its maximum potential. It's very often seeing that we're using very basic service, very basic data analysis, and this team missions is actually work on supporting and getting the best of Kobo.
Gotcha. Thank you. Could you share a little bit about how specifically partner services help some of these challenges that our partners face that you were referring to?
Yeah, so working directly with the organizations that are working directly with communities that need specific features or specific forums for helping them understanding how to better use Kobo and how to improve what they are doing, being more efficient and de-risking failure. In our team, we have M&E practitioners, we have humanitarian workers, we have people that come from the ground directly. So we have that perfect combination within teams that are working directly with Kobo, that have the expertise with Kobo, but also have been working directly with communities in the past.
Thank you. Could you also share the different types of services offered by our partner services team?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Tino and Patrick have mentioned, our aim is also to keep Kobo being affordable and then having in the core that we're a nonprofit, and that's the heart of what we do. We are also offering some services for big users and for partners. We have 4 basic umbrellas. The first one is form development. So we support teams with the creation of service and in general the usage of KoboToolbox, then developing custom dashboards, research and evaluation, and also solutions that are tailored. All of these services are tailored to the needs of specific partners.
Great, thank you. I'm sure our community would love to hear about a recent example of a partner services project.
Yeah, so we're working with the UN Women Regional Office in the Arab states with this project that we call Track It. So what we're doing is basically they are working along the region with over 10 countries, over 100 implementing partners, and they have more than 8 projects that have been tracked using the system. So we help them creating the forms, we help them creating the dashboard that you're seeing in the images, and with them we're collaborating. So for everyone, it's easier to access to the data, and it's not only a tick box for donors or for the organization, but it's also an opportunity to make better decisions based on the evidence that they are collecting.
Thank you, Paula, for sharing, the different types of services that our partner services team offers, and also just thank you for all the amazing work that you and your team has been doing. All right, time for our last poll. And this poll speaks to the different scale at which the community uses the platform, right from small NGOs to large international NGOs running programs at scale.
Give it another 5 seconds.
All right.
Okay, over Majority of voted. Let's end it and hear the results.
All right, so 500 to 1,000 submissions is where everybody is at. Most people are at. All right, thank you everybody for participating. And now we'll be moving to our community spotlight section where we have Tala from WHH who'll be talking about their experience with our team's offering, and then we'll have Sharon talking about Save the Children's experience with our enterprise private server offering. So we'll first start with Tala. So Tala brings over 8 years of monitoring and evaluation experience, primarily in the Middle East and North Africa region. She has worked for a range of organizations from NRC to CESVI, and then right now at WHH. Tala specializes in designing meal systems and strengthening information management for evidence-based programming, and she also has experience across different programmatic areas, including shelter, livelihood, education, protection, nutrition, with the recent focus on the Palestine operations. Over to you, Tala.
Thank you very much, Dev, and thank you for having me in this webinar. Today, I'll be sharing our experience with using Kobo in the context of Gaza, which is an emergency context. In the context of Gaza, as you all know, has been facing one of the most severe humanitarian crises. And over the past 2 years, the situation has deteriorated rapidly, with homes, hospitals, schools, infrastructures severely damaged and destroyed. There's also been mass and ongoing displacements, with over 90% of the population displaced, and often multiple times. And the humanitarian situation has truly collapsed. And this has created a complex and high-risk operational environment. Some of the operational challenges that we encounter. Sorry, could you move on to the next? Thank you. Some of the operational challenges that we encounter include access and movement restrictions, which truly limit our ability to reach people in need. The ongoing bombardments also pose a serious risk to our staff and the communities we serve. And the constant displacement adds just another layer of complexity, making service delivery unstable. And the aid supplies are limited, which means that we must continuously verify, monitor, and prioritize our services. And the population's needs are constantly evolving in this environment. With that in mind, our data systems need to be adaptive, timely, transparent, in order to guide our response and uphold accountability and trust. So WHH truly works through local partners, and our emergency response has focused mainly on 3 sectors, including nutrition and food, shelter and NFI, and the WASH. Next, please. And given the realities that we're working with, Kobo has become essential to our response. It's enabled us to monitor activities remotely, especially when direct access is limited or unsafe. It's also given us timely and digitized data that supports our decision-making. And Kobo works flexibly, and the fact that it's widely adopted by our local partners facilitates our work. And specifically, the Teams plan has added structure and scalability that we need to sustain our operations. So with that, we've been able to tailor our data workflows to fit the realities on the ground. And this has been especially important for our verification and monitoring activities, where Kobo allows us to collect data even in hard-to-reach areas or when there's internet access. Rapid needs assessment also helps us guide our emergency responses. And when it comes to expanding our local network of local partners, Kobo has supported our pre-assessment process for CBOs. And because Kobo works offline and on smartphones, it's accessible to our teams, our partners, even in the most challenging conditions. The team's plan has brought several key benefits that strengthened our response. The first is scalability. As our projects expand, we're able to scale our operations without needing to disrupt our existing workflow. Second is decentralized project management, which allows us to host all our projects under one organizational account and preserves the institutional knowledge within WHH. It also makes coordination between country offices and the field teams smoother and easier. And then the third point is the team's management feature, which enables role-based access control and allowing us to align permissions with our staffing structure. Because we have coordinators, consultants, volunteers, data collectors. So this fits perfectly with our structure. And this not only promotes accountability, but it also safeguards sensitive data, especially in such conditions. And then the last point is around having enhanced support from the Kobo team themselves. And maybe lastly, from my side, is just some feedback and reflections on the use of Kobo. And feedback from the field has been generally very positive. And Kobo is seen as user-friendly, practical, and empowering to the local communities. Maybe looking forward, like WHH would want to capitalize on strengthening the team management to help us create a more structured and secure environment for data collection, and promoting My Library as a centralized space for standardized templates and forms. Thank you, and over to you, Dev.
Thank you, Tala. Thank you for taking the time for being here and sharing your experience of both the platform and your ongoing work in Gaza. Thank you so much. Now we'll have Sharon share Save the Children's experience with our enterprise private server offering. Sharon is a digital development professional. She leads efforts to expand and standardize data collection globally within Save the Children. She has experience working across both local and international NGOs, along with experience in CSR and digital education initiatives. Sharon leverages technology to amplify impact. She holds MSc in Development Management from London School of Economics. Over to you, Sharon. Welcome.
Thank you, Dev. Hi, all. I'm Sharon Sagas. I'm the Associate Product Owner for Digital Data Collection at Save the Children International. And I'll be talking about our journey in using KoboToolbox as an organization-wide strategic tool for data collection in our programs. As you may know, Save the Children works across the world, reaching millions of children every year, whether it's responding to emergencies or improving education. Data helps us to understand what works, where we need to improve, how to increase impact. So with thousands of staff and partners collecting data, we needed tools that are secure, scalable, and easy to use. Why? Because accurate data capturing is essential in identifying activities that provide better outcomes, allowing us to increase the impact towards our breakthroughs for the most marginalized and deprived children. Before KoboToolbox Enterprise, our data collection faced three major issues. First, it was unsafe. Data was stored on laptops or in filing cabinets, and many tools used didn't meet our data protection standards. Second, it was inefficient. MEAL teams spent hours manually processing data and building surveys from scratch, with little guidance on what tools to use. Third, we had low-quality data. Too many tools meant data couldn't be easily shared or compared, Paper forms were still being used, and the lack of standardization made analysis difficult. These challenges made it clear that we needed a secure, scalable, and standardized solution. So what about it? In 2022, we launched our private enterprise Kobo instance, exclusive to Save the Children offices, and then started wide onboarding from 2023. This gave us better control over data storage, access to new features, and improved data management for our users. We supported the rollout with onboarding guidance, data migration from public Kobo instances, a form library based on the public collections feature, and ongoing help desk support for our users. For some offices, this was not only transitioning from legacy digital tools, but a full transition into digital data collection from paper. The transition wasn't easy, but strong internal coordination and clear governance helped us overcome those hurdles. And within 6 months, over 95% of our offices were using our KoboToolbox instance. Now it's well embedded in our monitoring and evaluation, and we have millions of submissions annually to prove this. But there's no better way to express this than through the words of our colleagues, who have highlighted, for example, an improvement in their security and data protection practices, effective time saving, and increased confidence through the usage of a standardized tool. And we can hear from some of them in the video upcoming. Hopefully upcoming.
All right, almost there.
All right, so yeah, lacking audio on that, but I hope you got the idea. So we are proud of the progress that we have made so far, and while the work is still far from over, we have learned some key lessons along the way. On the do side, we managed to tap into a real demand for change from our country offices, which helped drive momentum. We also had senior stakeholder support, which was crucial because having champions at the top makes a real difference. We delivered clear, simple communications, both globally and country by country, and this helped keep everyone aligned. We prepared as much as possible, but we stayed flexible to adapt to each country office's needs. And then we scaled up existing features, for example, as I mentioned, to create shareable templates, working with our Neil community to build an organization-wide library of best-in-class forms for each of our thematic areas. On the don't side, as a small team of 3, our advice looking back is to not under-resource. Rolling out tech at scale needs dedicated people and time. We also recommend not to underestimate the role of local partners, which may vary widely, and we're still working on the best way to reach them all. And for us, the migration task was also bigger than we expected, but it was essential for a smooth transition. And finally, as you know, data aggregation across countries is complex. Digitization through KoboToolbox and the creation of standardized forms are just the first steps in building a truly comparable organization-wide reporting system. So that's it from me. Thank you for listening. Grateful to be part of this community. And here's to data that drives real change. Thanks, Dave. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. No, that was fascinating to hear, Save the Children's journey from having KoboToolbox used so heavily in country offices in a decentralized way to now how it's being deployed in such an organized fashion. Thank you so much.